This was insane to witness as the Pelicans exploded for their biggest offensive output of the season thus far on their way to their third win of the season against the Chicago Bulls. Can the Pelicans keep this up and start a winning streak? Well, we're going to take a look back at that game last night and find out how they did it inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, y'all? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, back once again inside Pelicans Digest. Thank you so much for checking in with your boy, man. And if you're still here, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is where you get the best analysis, opinions, and more about the New Orleans Pelicans right here on Pelicans Digest. It's Melz talking about those Pels. And what a night last night, man. It was phenomenal to watch the Pelicans go and explode for 143 points last night. 143 points last night, which was incredible, on 53 of 104 shooting. Crazy night for the Pelicans. 8 Pelicans in double figures. And once again, a player, I think, who led the way last night besides Zion Williamson, that really showcases stuff with somebody I talked about in the video yesterday, been real big about him since before the season even started, was probably the forgotten piece of the Jordan Poole trade that everybody looked over, and I said, no, you can't look over that. This guy is good. And that's Saddiq Bey, man. 20 points, 13 rebounds, his second back-to-back, second double-double of the last 2 games. And he also had 3 assists in 39 minutes of play. And, of course, Saddiq was struggling coming off that bench, man. And I don't know what made them move him to the bench, but I was of the opinion that Saddiq should be starting because I think he plays better when he starts. I think he feels more energized and needs a few minutes to get warmed up and revved up. And he did that last night, man, was just absolutely phenomenal in this game last night. And also was very helpful on the rebounding front, second chance opportunities. And again, like I said, the Pelicans got to lock this guy in. I mean, you have got to lock this guy in. You didn't hand it out guaranteed contracts to Jordan Hawkins and all these other guys. Look, at the end of this season, you got to keep Saddiq Bey on this roster. And I think you got to keep him in the starting lineup somehow. I don't know who's going to get moved out. Maybe it's Herb, but I think you got to keep Saddiq Bey in there because he's giving you not only offensive production, but also defensive production as well. You seen him get on the floor. He's willing to dive on the floor for balls and scrap with whoever's he up against. He's also a size nightmare matchup for a lot of these wings and forwards out there. I've been big on Saddiq Bey, and I think you should be too if you haven't done it yet. If you haven't been big on Saddiq Bey, get with the program, man. I'm telling you. He's an important piece. Another important piece and another fantastic game last night. Breakout game again for Jose Alvarado. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Was one of the highest rated players on the floor at a plus 14 in his 31 minutes of play. And, you know, again, you might have another conundrum on your hands if you're James Borrego. Do you start Jose or you continue to let him be that spark guy? Because if you saw in the first quarter, this starting lineup always comes out slow for some reason. There's been games where they pop out and start off well, but at some point they start melting down. And it doesn't seem like until Jose gets in there that we start warming things up. I think if you want to keep this momentum going, and again, last night, Chicago was a team. This Chicago Bulls team runs an offense that the Pelicans kind of want to run, but don't have the personnel to run, which is this high-speed, fast-paced offense. And that's built for Jose Alvarado. It's not built for the personnel around him. If you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, Jose was just so phenomenal last night in his 31 minutes. And now you have the conundrum of where do you want to start Jose now over Fears? Or do you want to run that combo? Because, again, Fears has been playing this sort of shooting guard-esque play. Not so much point guard. He's still, his assists are down. His scoring may be up, but again, last night, his scoring was phenomenal, and I think he played better off of Jose in the scoring guard position. That's just my thoughts on it. I think he played better with Jose in that position. But Derik Queen had a pretty bad night last night. And I can't say it was totally his fault. I think Chicago schemed up against him well, especially at the 5 at the start of the game. So I went back. I wanted to go back and watch why I thought what was going on with Queen. that last night. And I think Josh Giddey and them did a great job as far as attacking him. They know he's a rookie, so they used him as the point of attack on their offense. And at the start of the game, that's how they was able to stay with the Pelicans and even have the lead at some point in some time. And then James Borrego came to the realization, wait a minute, Vooch ain't there, so let's run some E. Missy minutes. And E. Missy was phenomenal last night. 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks. One thing you got to realize for all of y'all who was kind of upset that Queen wasn't getting enough burn last night was that it was a matchup advantage for the Pelicans and E. Missy. Vooch wasn't there. They didn't have a big that can compare the size with Missy, and that's why Missy was able to get busy and beast. And you finally saw Missy play with some offensive confidence in this game. A lot of times when E was out there, he didn't look like he was confident enough to go up against some of these guys. He'll rather pass it and defer it once he got into the paint. Last night you saw E say, nah, I'm almost Kareem-like moves and Dream-like moves on some shakes in here and there. And also it was the reason why the Pelicans were able to shut down the Bulls' offense, because the Bulls stopped attacking the paint. If you want to go look at the shot chart from the first quarter by quarter in the game last night, I think Chicago was 7 or 8 in the paint in the first quarter. And that's when Queen was in there, because they were attacking Queen. He was a rookie. They knew to attack him. He got 2 fouls quickly in the first quarter, so they attacked him early. When Missy got in there, Chicago stopped attacking. They stopped attacking the paint because they knew his presence was there. And it led to them shooting a whole bunch of three-pointers. Chicago shot 50 three-pointers last night because they didn't want to attack and go into the paint. Also, the reason why E. Missy was able to beat last night again was because there was nobody that the Bulls had that could compare to him matchup-wise. He also shut down the paint because the Bulls, points in the paint. Want to know what the stat was? Pelicans 78, Bulls 44. That's the scoring in the paint last night. Pelicans 78, Bulls 44. Also, that was about the same in rebounding. Pelicans had 70 rebounds compared to the Bulls 41. So E. Missy minutes were phenomenal last night and needed because it took advantage of a matchup disadvantage that the Bulls had against you. So, but Queen's going to be okay. I mean, don't panic. It just wasn't his night to shine last night. It was an E. Missy night. Also, big shout out to Afro Peavy. Go ahead and keep the Afro, young man. Go ahead and keep the Afro, bro. Yeah, Afro Peavy had 10 points, 4 assists, and was a plus 13 on the court last night. Another one of the highest rated players on the Pelican squad last night. Timely steals as well. And, did I say 4 assists? I'm sorry, 4 steals last night. He had 4 steals last night. And filling in with Jordan Hawkins has been phenomenal. Or wherever position you put him in, whether it was Hawkins or her. That's why I kept saying before, I didn't want Peavy and Hawkins on the floor together, because one is defensively weak, and it will require Peavy to work harder on his end. Last night, I think Peavy and Bryce McCollum. Sign me up for more Bryce McCollum minutes, man. Sign me up for more Bryce McCollum minutes. McCollum's had 11 points. Was 2 or 3 from three-point line. And the thing about McCollum is he's more conservative. He's not going to jack up a whole bunch of weird shots. He's much more conservative with the ball and will take the overlooks when it's given to him. Will attack the paint when he sees the opportunity there. I think he plays a smarter brand of basketball overall, and plus is better defensively. Lengthwise, he's able to jump in the passing lanes and knock the ball loose and really hold up guys. So, again, give me more Michael Peavy minutes. Give me more Bryce McCollum minutes. Defense, still an issue. Gave up 130 points. Still an issue. These are games, but this is one of those games that the Pelicans usually lose, if we're being honest. Because it's rare you get a night where you get 8 of our players in double figures, almost the entire roster in double figures. It's rare. This is one of those rare nights where guys are hitting shots left and right. And you hope it could be like this every night, But realistically, we know it can't be. But at the same time, I think James Borrego may have unlocked the key to helping this team get better on the floor offensively. Defensively is still an issue, though. Defensively is still an issue. But last night was just more about matchups. I think the Pelicans were able to exploit a lot of matchups that they were able to take advantage of, especially with E. Missy. Especially with E. Missy on the floor. With no Vooch on the floor, he was able to get busy. And that was great to see. And this is why we're talking about with our front court. I think we have a very good front court with Missy and Queen and Zion and even Saddiq Bey over there. It's just utilizing them more. And last night we utilized them more. Didn't rely so heavily on the 3 points. He still jacked up 35 of them. Still jacked up to 35 and still only shot, I think made 14 of them, 14 to 17 of them from 3-point line. But you saw more emphasis on scoring in the paint last night, thanks to E. Missy. And even though Queen again was slower and it wasn't a good night for him, it just wasn't a good matchup. I think Josh Giddey was a fine matchup for him. Josh Giddey was covering him most of the time when he was out there. And I think it was just an even matchup for Queen. Yeah, Queen got some shots over him and was able to get some things, little points here and there, but I think it was just a bad matchup for him last night. And it was just a better matchup advantage for E. Missy. And Saddiq Bey as well. But again, phenomenal game from the Pelicans, man. We back in the win column, man. So thankful. Going into Memphis next up. Got the Memphis game coming up, I think, tomorrow night. What are your thoughts on the game last night, though? Were you happy and excited to see this Pelicans team get from 90 and 110 to 140 points? Were you happy they didn't collapse in the third quarter? They were able to maintain the lead in the third quarter. They lost the third quarter, as they always do, but they still maintained the lead, thank God. What did you like about last night? Do you think the lineups that James Borrego had, do you think that starting lineup he had last night should be one you stick with and continue on with the second unit with? What are your thoughts? Clap back, and thank you once again for subscribing and being a part of the Pelicans Digest community. And once again, man, we'll holler at you at another time, man. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts on the big win last night against the Bulls. Clap back in the comments, and I'll holler at you.